So you're thinking about moving into Lexington, Kentucky, and you've already checked into some of the basic things that you might need to know, like cost of living, the weather, maybe some of the best neighborhoods. You've probably Googled all those things to see what you could find out. Well, in today's video, we're going to dive a little bit deeper, and I'm going to give you the top 10 things that you must know before you move into Lexington. So the top 10 things that you need to know before even thinking about moving into Lexington. So the first thing I wanted to talk to you about is Lexington is really not like any other metropolitan city that you might consider moving into. Lexington is more like a collection of neighborhoods. Now, we've taken time over the last several weeks and looked at many different neighborhoods in the Lexington area. We've broken down the neighborhoods in Hamburg. Hamburg is, if you're looking for newer housing, bigger housing, maybe more modern, Hamburg would be the area that you'd want to check into. So different neighborhoods have all completely different vibes. Then you could go over to Chevy Chase. Now that is in the downtown. Well, not really all the way in downtown, but it's close to downtown. Older, more historic homes down there. Now, you're not going to find any house really down there under probably $500,000. So these are more expensive houses that you might find in the Chevy Chase area. Check into Masterson Station. There's new housing down there. It is up on the northern side of Lexington, where Hamburg is on the southeast, so they're just about polar opposites. We've looked at the South Point neighborhood down in the southern side, south side of Lexington, down off Nicholasville Road. So you need to know that really Lexington is just a collection of neighborhoods, and you want to make sure that you get into the right neighborhood, because if you get into the wrong one, you're not going to be very happy there. The second fact we want to talk about is really there are no condo booms in Lexington, really a big boom of condo building. There are lots of different condos in the downtown area, but really if you're wanting to move into just a really big city that's got lots of condos and a downtown area, then Lexington's likely not going to be the place for you. Now, there are condos, like I said, there are condos in Lexington, but it's really not, it's more of a suburban vibe in Lexington. People like to be in neighborhoods with small lots in most areas of Lexington. So if condo living is something that you're looking for, you're probably not going to be happy with the Lexington or Central Kentucky area. When we compare living in Lexington to bigger cities, maybe like Louisville or Nashville, maybe even up in Cincinnati, there is more downtown living and therefore more condos in those bigger cities. But as we stated in the very first item we talked about, that we're a collection of neighborhoods, a collection of zip codes really, rather than an urban city. Lexington really doesn't have that much to offer in the way of condos. So if you're dreaming of a high-rise right in the city with lots of amenities close by, you might be a little bit disappointed in that Lexington does have a few of those, but really it would be difficult to find something brand new, something maybe that's been remodeled and up to date, and that would have all the amenities that maybe you might find in some other bigger, more urban cities. The next thing that I wanted to tell you that you really need to know is Lexington, people typically do know their neighbors. Now, you're probably not going to know everybody in your neighborhood, but people do like to get to know their neighbors here, unless you just don't want to know your neighbors. But people do like to get to know their neighbors in this area. They like to sit out on the porch, maybe out on the back porch, and be able to have their kids to play in the neighborhood with other kids. So it is very much a community vibe in the Lexington area. And so you're not going to be able to find that kind of information likely, when you try to Google, what is Lexington about, or what kind of environment is it? So we wanted to touch on that just a little bit, that so many people are isolated and live just, maybe you just have lived in a city You really didn't get to know all of your neighbors. And that's really the one really nice thing about Lexington and really anywhere in central Kentucky is it is a place that you can sip your sweet tea or have a glass of wine out on the porch and probably would be able to meet with and know most all the neighbors that live right around your house. Now, the fourth thing that you must know about before moving to Lexington is we are horse country here. And although living right in town, you're not going to see horses every day, but because of the industry that the horse industry and the money that it brings into Lexington and really all of Kentucky, you're going to see aspects of horse country everywhere. Just outside of the city limits, you're going to see lots of horse farms that surround the area of Lexington. Lots of horse names. Actually, Hamburg, lots of the names in Hamburg, and we've talked about that neighborhood. Lots of those streets are named after different famous horses that have either won the Kentucky Derby or maybe won Triple Crowns. So horses have a lot to do with just the overall vibe of Lexington. So that might be something that you may not know when you're just doing some research on Google about what you might find in Lexington. And you know, we are really surrounded and very proud of our horse country heritage here. Lots of very famous thoroughbred farms are here in the Lexington area. Beautiful farms that you could take tours of. If you come into Lexington, be sure to schedule a tour at, Calumet or Ashford Stud, maybe Windstar, or definitely check those places out because they're just beautiful to see. Really, you've got to go into Keeneland because you haven't really experienced Lexington or central Kentucky until you have been to a horse race. And Keeneland has races every day in their spring meets in April and in their fall meets in October. So be sure to schedule a tour to see some of those. It is stunning to watch in person. The fifth item we wanted to talk about that you may not know is the schools really vary here in the Lexington area depending on what neighborhood you choose to live in. So if you have kids in elementary school, then you're going to really want to take a look at some of the top rated elementary schools. You're going to want to look at Veterans Elementary, Rosa Parks, the new one that's built over in Sandersville, you're going to want to take a look at some of those. But be sure that you do your research because niche.com is a really good resource for you to check into to be able to figure out what are the best schools in different neighborhoods in Lexington. And you really just can't assume that because you're in a good neighborhood that you have a good school. So be sure to, reach out to us, send us a text, give me a call, send me an email. If there's a neighborhood that you're wanting to consider but you're not really sure about the schools, we'd be happy to do some research and help you figure that out. We are shooting our video here this week here at the Equus Run Vineyards, just right across the county line into Woodford County. And so if you've watched through my video, you've been able to see the vineyard in the background. They have events here all the time. We just wanted to put a plug out for them. If you come into the Lexington, Central Kentucky area, be sure to spend some time checking out these vineyards. We're not just known for bourbon. Hi, I'm Lisa Prather. I am the host of this channel, Living in Central Kentucky, and every week we try to make new content to help people that are thinking about moving into Lexington, Georgetown, Frankfort, or anywhere in Central Kentucky. We try to help people figure out maybe what areas that they need to live in. So if you're new to our channel, be sure to like and subscribe and tap the bell for notifications so you'll be able to get all the newest updates every week when we post. Number 6, and this is a big one. If you are moving into the Lexington area or anywhere in Central Kentucky, and maybe you are coming from an area that has a train or a subway system and you're used to using that, we don't have that here. So you're going to have a car to be able to travel anywhere in Central Kentucky, whether it be how you get to and from work or to the grocery or even the simple things. You can have things delivered, that's for sure, but really public transportation is very limited in this area. We do have Lexington here, and we've talked about this in some previous videos. And Lexington costs about $30 a month for a pass. If you're a student, it'll be a lot less, but Lexington is limited. They don't go down every street. They're not going to pick you up at your front door. So being able to get around in Lexington is going to be quite a bit different if you're used to those public transportation systems. Now, the seventh thing that you might not find out if you Google is we do have a downtown, very active entertainment scene, but it's really not like you might find in some bigger cities. There are wonderful restaurants and different forms of entertainment, live music in the downtown area, condos, all different types of shows that you might see, but it's really not going to be like something you might find in a larger city. So downtown living is more quiet and reserved than maybe some larger cities like we've talked about, Nashville or Knoxville or Cincinnati, or maybe even over in St. Louis, all of those surrounding areas. So Lexington is a much smaller community feel. So if downtown living is something that you're really looking into, this might not be the place for you. There are no big club scenes, but there are small lounges and bourbon and boutique shopping areas all within the downtown area. So it's probably going to be something different than what you've experienced before, but people love coming into this area because of the smaller hometown feel. I think you might like it too. Now, the eighth thing on our list is access to health care. Access to health care is really a top-notch thing here in the Lexington area. We do have a level 1 trauma center with a Markey Cancer Center right here in downtown Lexington. Lots of students who do their residency, they end up staying here at UK because it is such a great place to work. People from all over the state, really other parts of the country, come into Lexington for treatment at UK Healthcare Center. People actually move here for the healthcare system. You know, whether you are a retiree and you really want to make sure that you have top-notch health care, or maybe you have children with special needs and you've got to be close to, you know, a level 1 trauma center. Lexington does offer all of those things, and so you may or may not be able to find out all of that information if you try to Google what is available in the Lexington area. So being able to put that on our list, our number 8 on our list, it really helps us to feel like we have a great healthcare system, you know, that does serve all of Lexington, really all of Kentucky. Number 9 on our list that you may or may not know is summers are humid in Kentucky. As you can tell, it's a beautiful summer day here, early July. Temperature's about 87 degrees, but it is very humid here. So I've been trying to find some shaded spots. As you can see, that's Elkhorn Creek right behind us. You know, so if you're moving here, maybe from Michigan or Florida, you're going to think the weather here is great because it is mild. We don't really have the extremes that maybe you have in some of these other states. We do have winter here. Last winter was a hard winter for us. Lots of snow, lots of ice, but it really is rare to have such a harsh winter. Now, summer in Kentucky is humid. It's going to be humid here. It's going to be hot. Temperatures typically range from the low 90s. You might have days it's down to the low 80s, but usually in the summer months, we're going to have temperatures right around 90 degrees. Now, we do experience all 4 seasons here. Sometimes we think, wow, that was a short spring and a very short fall, and we're already back into winter, or we're already into summer. But you will have the ability to experience several months of each season. And people really love being able to experience all 4 seasons, a place where it's not hot all the time, or, you know, not long, cold winters. So if you're looking for something mild, Kentucky's going to be the place for you. Now, the final thing we wanted to talk about on our list is growth is happening in Lexington. And we've talked about this in previous videos. The population in the Lexington area is around 320 to 325 or so thousand people. It is the largest city or town, if you want to call it, in this area, because we have Frankfurt that's around 27 or 28,000 people, which it is the capital. We have Versailles, which is the neighboring county, about 10,000 people. We have Richmond, that's about 38,000 people, and up in Georgetown at about 40,000 people. So Lexington is a big hub. People from all over central Kentucky do come into Lexington for shopping and restaurants. And like I've told you in other videos that we've done, most all the towns around Lexington, you can be from any of those towns into Lexington in about 25 to 35 minutes, depending on what area you're going to go to. So, you know, if you say, well, I don't want to live outside the city, but I don't want to be in a highly populated area, really just about anywhere that you search, you're going to be able to find exactly what type area you want to live in. There is a lot of opportunity here without feeling overwhelmed like people are on top of each other. It is a growing city, and we're seeing growth over in Hamburg, growth over in Masterson Station area as the transportation systems through there, the roads are being upgraded to handle more people. Growing can sometimes be a little painful, but Lexington is a beautiful city to move into. So if it's something that you're looking to do, is to move into central Kentucky, be sure to reach out to us. Give me a call, send me a text or an email. I'd love to help you find just what it is that you're looking for, whether it be, you know, maybe a small condo in downtown that's not a newer condo, or maybe you want a small starter home in a really nice neighborhood in Lexington. You're not real sure what area to look at. I'd be happy to help you find those places that maybe you wouldn't be able to Google and find on your own. So reach out to us. Give us a call, send us a text or an email. We'd be happy to help you make the move into Lexington. So which one of our must-know items was really the most surprising to you? Was it the fact that we don't really have a big public transportation system here? Is it that we don't have a huge nightlife system here in the Lexington area? But as you can see, I'm about 18 minutes outside of Lexington here at Equus Run. What a beautiful place. There's lots of places like this, green space around, the horse farms here, the bourbon tour that's here, and really the growing vineyard experiences that are here in this area. So leave us a comment below and let us know, what is it that you were the most surprised about, or what would you have liked to see added to our list that we didn't even think about. So until next time, I hope to see you around town.